Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rue News. I'm Henry Gamber.
And I'm Darius Stewart. We're here to bring you the news from around campus and Kansas City every Tuesday.
We start our show today with a look into some of the ways students find safe and affordable housing during their time here at UMKC. We go to Emma Russell with more.
I'm Emma Russell with Rue News. Many students have trouble finding quality and affordable housing nearby campus. We talked to urban planning and design professor Stephanie Frank and junior Brenden Hill to find out more.
The city of Kansas City, Missouri is actually working toward a policy to increase affordable housing in the city because there is an affordability crisis. We're situated in a relatively high-income, expensive area. If you go to the east, it's maybe more affordable, but people know that there are university students, so they're taking advantage of that.
So I've been actually living in the same place for almost 2 years now. It's like just right by, it's like really 200 feet from Grant Hall and Cherry Street Garage by Royal Hall. So it's actually a pretty good place, but like it's pretty expensive. It's like almost like $700 a month, which is like a lot. I like my job. It's like it doesn't pay enough for housing. I mean, most students are going to do a part-time job at most because it's just not sustainable to do a full-time job. Generally speaking, on top of classes, and some people can, but like it's just you're going to have to cut corners somewhere. And the ideal thing is you're at school, so you want to focus on school. So I just don't think it's possible to do a part-time job and pay for housing.
Many students searching for cost-efficient housing hope to see changes implemented by the city government and UMKC in order to make it more affordable to live near campus. I'm Emma Russell, and this is Rue News.
Thanks, Emma. A story that's become all too common in the news today is that of mass shootings. The perspectives of UMKC international students on this topic seems to vary greatly from their peers. While dependent upon the individual, more international students today are afraid of encountering violence on a day-to-day basis. Many students even noted that their families warned them before traveling to the U.S. Notably, the enrollment rate of international students at UMKC has fallen 10% in the last 3 years, from approximately 1,200 students in the fall of 2017 to 1,100 in the fall of 2019. With UMKC having such a high percentage of international students, this is rather disheartening to hear. But bringing awareness to these issues is an important first step to ensure change.
Recently, the Kansas City branch had an event where over 300 volunteers, including 42 UMKC students, handed out information booklets about the missing people and searched for them as well. Due to these efforts, 9 of those missing people were found during the last search. The Big Search hopes to spread awareness and help find more missing people.
To counteract the immense amount of stress that they face in the final years of their education, medical students receive mental health days built in which they can use to rest and recover. However, there has been a big change to the system. Now they are only able to take 2 days, and they need to request them weeks in advance. This has caused outrage among many medical students who see them as necessary for them to function in their high-pressure environment. According to Associate Dean of Students, Dr. Brenda Rogers, the school has revised the criteria for these days and will continue to monitor the potential outcomes of these changes.
It's spooky season, and with Halloween almost here, UMKC's haunted ghost tours have arrived. I went on the tour to find out more. UMKC's bookstore manager and campus historian, Chris Wolff, recently ran ghost tours where students were able to learn more about the campus's haunted history. We talked to Chris Wolff to learn more.
People don't know anything about the traditions or history of the campus, and so in 2013 I started doing afternoon campus walks where I'd talk about the history of the buildings and some of the major events of the campus and how it developed, and that kind of morphed into an October tour where I would tell stories of mayhem and murder and the ghost stories that I discovered while researching the university's history. The University Playhouse was where the Library Learning Center sits today, and it was a building that we inherited from an Army base after World War II. It was the Army base's movie theater, and we reconstructed it here on campus, and it became our playhouse. As all theaters, it was considered haunted by an actress who died in the theater in 1957. And after the Playhouse was torn down in 1978, the Performing Arts Center opened in 79 to replace it, and there are a lot of stories of the Spencer Theater and the Performing Arts Center also being haunted by the same ghost. The library has a tradition of being haunted. In 1991, the top 2 floors were added to the library as a gift from one of our longtime patrons named Miller Nickel. And it was named the Miller Nichols Library after that. Well, the very top floor of the library for a number of years was empty before we moved into it. And there's a lot of stories about that top floor actually being haunted. And of course, Epperson House has long been considered haunted, going back all the way to the 1940s, haunted by the adopted daughter of the Epperson family, who passed away in 1922. And of course, that's the one that most people know about and has really captured the imagination of the student bodies for generations. Perhaps something that could generate interest in our history and tradition would be, as a campus, to come together, raise money to restore something priceless like that. Other ideas would be like signs around campus that talk about the history, like a sign at the side of the university playhouse, or something like that. To educate people as they just walk around campus.
Students can learn more about UMKC's history in Wolff's book, A Pearl of Great Value, which is available at the library.
Thanks, Henry. So how was it?
It was a lot of fun. It was great to learn about campus's history, and I would strongly recommend it.
That's always good. Maybe I'll check it out. So that's all we have for today's stories. Next, let's go to Gabe Barthome with a sports update, who's filling in for our Kennedy Bright.
Thanks, Darius. The Roos entered Friday's match against CSU Bakersfield with a 7-2 record with 3 players who reached the double-digit mark in kills. This showed against the Roadrunners as 4 Roos surpassed 10 kills and Kansas City ran by CSU Bakersfield 3-1. In terms of postseason implications, one of the most important Kansas City volleyball matches occurred Saturday against Grand Canyon. Both teams entered the match with a 7-2 standing in the Western Athletic Conference and a tie for second place. The Antelopes had an advantage over Kansas City from the first serve, leaving with a 3-1 victory and taking the number 2 spot. Last Thursday, the Kansas City men's golf team traveled to Vero Beach, Florida this past weekend for the Quail Valley Invitational hosted by McNeese State, Michigan State, and Notre Dame. Kansas City finished in the 11th spot out of 14 teams and had a total team score of 857. That's it for sports today. Back to you, Darius and Henry.
Thanks, Gabe. And that's all we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Roo News. I'm Henry Gamber.
And I'm Darius Stewart. See you next Tuesday.